Michelle, how are we doing?
I am doing wonderful. Thank you guys so much for having me on. I'm not sure about legend status, but I am certainly happy to be here talking about Michigan football with you guys.
Fair enough. Well, one of the top social media accounts, I would say, up there with Swanky, Michelle. I think many Michigan fans would say you're up. You're at least in the tier one of social media accounts. So happy to have you on with us.
Happy to be here. Nobody could ever top Swanky, though.
Yeah,
He is unmatched. We can all agree.
fair enough. He may be the legend himself. But all right, Michelle. So we kind of want, I'll be honest. Like you give a lot of really good takes on social media, but I don't know if people fully know, kind of your feel on Michigan. And let me just give an example here. And I think this is an important question. I think it gives people a lot of feel for like how far back do you go as a fan, or what is your real perspective as a fan. So my first question for you, Michelle, is who is your favorite all-time Michigan player?
Um, More of a recent guy, but definitely Mikey Sainristil for so many
Really?
reasons. I mean, I could talk about him honestly for the entire duration of this podcast,
Yeah.
but I think it starts with the fact that he came into Michigan as a wide receiver. We all know that, right? And he was good at wide receiver, but then they identified some potential for him on the defensive side of the ball. And like a true Michigan man, he wasn't selfish. He wasn't about, his own stats. He said, if you need me on defense, I'll switch. Obviously switched over to the defensive side of the ball, had that huge PBU in that 2022 Ohio State game, but it was really his behind the scenes leadership, I think, that inspired me so much. And then of course in 2023, right? Just absolutely incredible season. It felt like at every big moment, Sainristil was there, right? Either with a key pick or a key stop. He
Yeah.
just was such a leader of that team and really exemplified, I think, my favorite part of Team 144, which was just how everyone was team first, right? It was the team, the team, the team. And I think there was nobody better than Mikey Sainristil to really exemplify that.
Fair enough. That's interesting. Like you say, I mean, it's an interesting pick because some people might say JJ or Blake Corum or Aiden Hutchinson, but Sanders still is definitely
He's up there.
he's up there. I mean, he really it's an interesting pick. If someone would have said TJ bet $100 what she's going to pick, I would not have picked Mikey Sainristil. So I like that.
Oh, really? I don't know. I have like a Sainristil jersey. Like
Really? Okay.
I went pretty hard for him. Like
I would have thought JJ. I would have thought JJ.
no, I like JJ.
All right, Michelle officially hates JJ. All right, we got
I do
that.
not hate JJ, but it was just like
Michelle hates JJ.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So let me get the next one here, Johnny. Then you can go after me. But so what's your thoughts on the season so far, Michelle? We're heading into the bye week. What are your biggest positives and what are your areas of concern right now?
I am super happy about this season. Obviously, the Oklahoma game was a disappointment. I really went into that game thinking we had a chance to win it. But so far, I mean, any Michigan fan is going to say the offensive improvement has just been outstanding, right? Obviously, Bryce Underwood, I think we'll probably get to him later, but just, the way in which Michigan is now able to take control of games on that side of the football has been a huge turnaround for me. I do have some concerns. Injuries have been a big concern. I don't know what's going on, but it seems like every time an injury report comes out, there's just more and more names of key players listed on it, frankly. I'm a little bit concerned about the O-line. I don't think it's necessarily lived up to what it was last year, but there's still time for improvement. And then the secondary, but I think some of that is honestly injury related. I just did not like the extent to which Raiola was kind of able to pass, not quite at will, but almost on this secondary. So we'd like to see that get better over the course of the year.
Yes. So regarding the offensive line, so I would agree that it's not optimal, but what's interesting is Bryce Underwood's been fairly clean. He hasn't been sacked a lot this season, so I feel like that's at least something going for us there. And then regarding the concerns, the injuries are interesting, aren't they? I mean, do we think it's what's your theory on that? Is it Justin Tress? What is this? Because a lot of people are trying to figure this out right now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I just feel like remember under Ben Herbert, like with that strength and conditioning and whatever it was with Connor Stallions knowing the signs, like this, just joking, but like this this team just didn't really see the level of injuries that it's seen certainly last season, right? When you look back and you had Will Johnson out most of the season, Colston Loveland out most of the season, like some of our best players sidelined. And then this year, some of these injury reports, I don't know. I mean, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but it's just, it's been disappointing.
Yeah. It
I've been wondering if maybe they're going too hard in practice.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's my thought on it, because Wink was really happy to be able to hit more, because in college they hit more in practice than they do in the pros.
Right.
So he was happy about that, and I'm not sure if they're maybe doing too much in practice. I don't know. I'm just
part of it's toughness, though, right? Like you hear that and you're like, is that an oxymoron? Going too hard in practice?
Yeah.
Sorry about my dog. My dog.
Oh, you're fine. It's okay. No problem. He's doing his job. All right, John, you got the next question?
Yes. What are you just brought up Bryce Underwood. So what are your thoughts on Bryce Underwood, and is he Batman?
I think the question that Batman is asking himself is he Bryce Underwood? Because I think Bryce Underwood is really the standard here. Now, I've been incredibly impressed with Bryce Underwood, and my expectations with Bryce Underwood were sky high coming into the season. Obviously, number one recruit in the nation, number one quarterback recruit, no small NIL package that he's receiving, but he's even exceeded my expectations. I think just his presence, his poise, his unflappability for his age and experience level, I think has just been really remarkable and something that's impressed everyone. I think we all expected him to be athletic. We all expected him to be a capable passer, but just that sort of X factor, that confidence, that calm under pressure, I think is what has impressed me the most and what gives me the most optimism with regard to Bryce Underwood going forward. Like I cannot believe that we are this early on in the Bryce Underwood arc, and it just makes me so excited for how much more of Bryce Underwood we have left ahead.
Right.
Yes, and I'm telling the community all the time, like really appreciate this present moment, because we get him for the next 3 years, and you're gonna watch this kid grow and develop in front of us, and he's a unicorn. He's a real rare athlete. So, I'm excited. And to your point though, Michelle, all right. So you said your expectations were sky high. I was more conservative. Like, all right, he's 18. We're gonna have those 18-year-old moments. He is obviously a very good, elite talent, but I did not anticipate his composure. I mean, it's insane. I mean, to go into Nebraska and handle that the way he did. Now, I do think the Oklahoma game, I don't think it was too big for him, but I do feel like we saw his youth there. But I also, and we could potentially talk about this a little later, but I feel like the coaching staff did not put him in the best position to succeed in that game. I think a lot of us would agree. So it is what it is. And Oklahoma may have one of the top defenses in the nation. So, I mean, it is what it is.
You saw what they did to Jackson Arnold. I mean, it was.
He had 10 sacks in there. It
was ridiculous. Like, I thought our game had a lot of sacks. That game had a lot of sacks. And I agree with you. I think that they really limited him in terms of his ability to run the ball. That was not an aspect of our game that we were really exercising fairly at that moment. And I think he could have been a lot more successful, and Michigan could have been a lot more successful had we played less conservatively. And I think that the play calling in that game was, I'm not usually very critical, but I think it was too conservative under the circumstances, because I think there is a universe in which Michigan could have won that game. But we didn't give ourselves a chance. And maybe that's like forward looking. Maybe that's like, look, this is a non-conference game. We think we have a shot to be an Indy. Like, let's just get through this. But I think more could have been done, certainly.
100%. I mean, they were definitely. Listen, I don't think it's crazy to say Bryce had a no-run policy going on, because he didn't run against New Mexico. He didn't run against Oklahoma at all. There was opportunity to run. He didn't. But whatever. I mean, obviously, it appears, as Biff Poggi told us, there's a green light. So, We're happy to hear that. Now, speaking of this green light and this offense you mentioned, which I agree with you. I spoke on Tuesday's show how confident or how I'm not concerned about Chip Lindsey's offense or Bryce Underwood. So my question to you is like, how do you feel about Chip Lindsey's offense at this point?
I mean, look, it's way better than Kirk Campbell, right?
Yeah.
No offense to Kirk Campbell.
Is it, Michelle? I don't know. It seems close.
You're just giving me bad memories now.
PTSD from Kirk Campbell.
No, I don't know what that was. Hold on just a second. Hold on.
You're good. Hey, community, just so you guys know, if you guys want to ask Michelle a question, send a super chat. We will get all questions to Michelle. Obviously, keep them very respectful, please. But any questions you guys have for Michelle, we will read them. We'll read them on the air.
Sorry about that. I was reading a note from my kiddo, who. No, I think Chip Lindsey is a vast improvement. It was hard to tell, right, who was actually calling the offensive plays in Oklahoma. And I think when we saw Sherrone's suspension and then we saw the offense open up more, it maybe gave me a little bit more confidence in Chip Lindsey that he was driving it, and we had a little bit more of a dynamic offense, a little bit more balanced offense. We were using Bryce more to his full capabilities. So I would say I'm optimistic about Lindsey still. I've heard some people who are kind of down on him. But I think it's frankly hard to discern whether or not that was Sherrone being conservative or whether or not that is actually attributable to Chip Lindsey.
So I haven't heard anyone complain about Chip Lindsey. You've heard some complaints. What, just like the first 2 weeks of play calling?
But I think it was because they thought Lindsey was behind the offensive play calling in Oklahoma that everybody was concerned about. And it looks in retrospect that may have been more.
Agree. Sherrone Moore. And I agree with you. What's funny is I've actually gotten some flack because I've essentially said as much. Like, I feel, me and John Diadamo, who's my co-host on Tuesday, I thought it was I think it's very obvious to anyone who's observing the game that Sherrone Moore's input was on the first 2 weeks. And it's not to say that Sherrone Moore had zero impact on the Nebraska game plan, or even the Central Michigan game plan, but it does appear that there was more freedom in the play calling, and it does. And now, I don't know if, all right, so I know you're not into conspiracy theories, but just so you know, there's some buzz that Sherrone Moore made those comments about you need two quarterbacks. Like, if you want to run, you're going to need two quarterbers. Well, there's some buzz behind the scenes that some donors and potential administration had a discussion with Sherrone Moore about that, and let's just say plans were changed. So I don't know how you feel about that, or if you heard anything on your end. But I'm just saying it's kind of things that have been discussed behind the scenes.
I have not heard anything, but I heard that comment. Obviously, it circulated throughout social media. And when I saw it, it made some sense to me, right? Because, of course, knock on all the wood, but like an injury to Bryce Underwood would be catastrophic for Michigan. Of course. And I think Sherrone appreciates that. Obviously, we've made a tremendous investment in him, but we also, the backup situation, like I think Keene is listed on the injury report. Like, I don't know. We saw Davis take a couple snaps, but like we need Bryce Underwood to stay healthy. And I can appreciate Sherrone being mindful of that need, but also you have this capability. And in a big game like the Oklahoma game, like if not, then when? I mean, I guess the season is still early, but I see both sides of it. I want to be fair to Sherrone Moore and his concern and respect for keeping Underwood healthy, but you also, like, sometimes you just got to win.
Yeah. I think you can't play scared. We only have 3 years with this kid. I mean, I don't know. I hear you, though. An injury would obviously be catastrophic, though, so I don't disagree. But I just feel – but see, my biggest issue with that comment is you got to have two quarterbacks. Then you should have got one, Sherrone. Then you should have got – and I know it wasn't that easy because there was word – well, the word was kids were afraid to play behind Bryce Underwood.
With good reason.
Yeah, they weren't going to play. So, I mean, with good reason. But then they should have – I forgot who that kid was who was at Baylor. But it doesn't matter. There was a kid I was actually really interested in, but it is what it is.
Finn?
It is what it is. I'm sorry, what? Yes, DeQuan Finn. Michelle, my girl.
Okay,
Heck yeah.
just read your mind.
Yes, DeQuan Finn. Why didn't you get DeQuan Finn then, right? Because if you needed that backup quarterback who potentially would need to fill in case of an injury, DeQuan Finn, I thought would have been
honestly would have been a good stylistic fit too.
Agree. Yeah, shout out to Michelle. All right, 10 points to you. All right, so then the next question we got here is which player would you like to see step up the second half of the season or from the bye week forward?
There are two. One is I was a little bit disappointed with Dominic Savada missing some of his kicks. It's very uncharacteristic of him from last season. I did not like that.
Very uncharacteristic, yeah.
Also, Samaj Morgan. Look, you guys remember Samaj's freshman year. He had some incredibly explosive plays. I think he advanced ahead of schedule as a freshman. And then last year in his sophomore year, just kind of regressed. And this year, I feel like it's been mixed. Like when he gets the ball, he runs really hard. But I feel like every time he's returning a kick, I like gasp a little bit.
Oh my God.
Like every Michigan player like clenches, right? Like we get flashbacks to like
Alabama.
The Rose Bowl, right? Like just
he almost cost us a championship.
That game took years off of my life, honestly. But I think Samaj has high-end capability. And honestly, like we just like McCauley has been a dog, but we need more at the wide receiver position.
Yeah.
With Bryce Underwood, we just need more at wide receiver. So I would love to see Samaj take a huge step forward.
So what's funny about that is I actually think Samaj has looked better this year.
He has looked better than last year.
It's just not. He's just not consistent. This is the year.
He looked his freshman year. Like I think freshman year, he looked really good.
I don't know. I feel like he looks quicker. I feel like he looks a little faster, a little more quicker. I'm actually happy with Samaj so far this year. I mean, but don't be wrong, we got to figure out this kick return situation. I mean, but to your point, we definitely have, and we talk about this all the time now on the show. We have a talent deficit at the wide receiver position that has got to be figured out. And it's not that Michigan hasn't tried either. They've tried. They've tried to get kids from Derek Meadows from last cycle to even the buzz about potentially trying to flip Nick Marsh from Michigan State up their NIL offer. They've made attempts, but and then I don't know. It is what hopefully they can get somebody for next season because they need it. But and I skipped a question. So which player has impressed you the most so far this season?
I mean, Justice Haynes has really been exceptional, right? Like he was okay at Alabama, and obviously he had that Alabama name and recruited by Saban behind him, but the leap he has taken and his explosive run capability is just awesome. Like if he gets in the open field, like it's touchdown. Like it's just a touchdown. And that has been tremendous to see, I would say, on the offensive side of the ball. On the defensive side of the ball, I have loved what has happened with Jayshon Barham and Cole Sullivan. Like Barham off the edge. My goodness, what a monster.
Yep.
Like he's been awesome, like incredible. But then obviously you got to fill in that gap at running back. And I think the way in which Cole Sullivan has stepped up, because I was really excited about our linebacker room coming into this season, but I was thinking it was Barham and Houseman, right? And then Sullivan has just sort of grabbed it in there almost seamlessly. And it's been terrific to see because having Barham off the edge is an X factor, I think.
Yes.
Like, he is just a monster.
Yeah, that moving Barham to the edge, it brought the athletic ability of the whole defense up because now you got Barham on the edge, who's an athletic freak. Then you bring in Cole Sullivan, who's also athletic as hell. So now it brings the caliber up because Jimmy Rolder, he's good in between the tackles, but Cole Sullivan's his ceiling is very high. So
yeah. So I mean, like to your point, Barrow moving to edge completely makes this defense far more dynamic, and it allows the other guys to get one-on-one matchups. And we saw this, right? I mean, and what's interesting is I know you live in Colorado, Michelle, but in our local radio here, we have a show that we all hate. It's Rico or Valeni and Rico. We hate him. 97.1.
People hate Valeni. I've never listened to it.
Garbage.
Never had the pleasure.
He's a hot take artist, I mean, he knows sports, but he just I don't know. It's like he just wants ratings. I don't know. But he made a comment. They were talking about Barham, and his comment was, and they're Spartans, by the way. They went to Michigan State.
Yeah.
And his comment was they believe that Barham is the most destructive defensive player Michigan's had, even ahead of Hutchinson and Mason Graham, which is high praise, obviously. But their comparison is Micah Parsons. They think he is a Micah Parsons-esque player. I don't know if I'm ready to put him at Micah Parsons level, but I can definitely see. I think he's definitely a first-round potential.
Well, think about how early it is for him, though, too. I mean, like he hasn't been at this position that long, and he's already clearly a game wrecker.
Yes,
that's a fact. Yes. He's a game wrecker. He's been in edge for 2 games and has 3 sacks, and it could have been more.
Could have been more. Really missed a tackle on Raiola that I thought he should have had, but he gets more experience in that position, and I think it's over.
Exactly.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, so which freshman or under the radar player do you feel can make the biggest impact on the stretch here?
I mean, besides Bryce Underwood,
yes,
really under the radar though. I mean, he is a true freshman. He's obviously impressed us all as a true freshman for what he's demonstrated so far. But I think I have high hopes for Andrew Marsh.
Me too. Great call. Yep.
I think, if we can get some, Samaj has been kind of fickle in that
consistent
kick return position. If we can get Marsh in there, he runs hard. I think that's a real possibility. And then Sanders, I hate that we've had so many injuries in the secondary, but Sanders, I think, has an opportunity to step up and look really good.
He's balling.
Yeah.
He is balling right now.
I think our best offensive set is McCauley. I do think Samaj in the slot, and then I would put Marsh at the Z because Goodwin's not it.
He can't catch. He gets open, but he can't catch.
Neither can Moore. So
I still want to see more. I feel like we haven't seen him much this year. I mean, he dropped it.
The coaching staff doesn't have confidence in him, but you're right. We have not seen that much of him. And then I've not been impressed by Goodwin. I just haven't.
No.
Yeah. He drops everything.
All right. So what's your thoughts on Sherrone Moore? Be very honest here. And then where do you see him taking this program? What's the potential here?
Sherrone Moore, I think, was put in a really hard position inheriting this team coming off a national championship, right? They lost so much, right? 14 players to the draft. Ben Herbert, Jesse Minter, they lost a lot. I wish he would have been more proactive about a quarterback solution last season. Yeah. I was disappointed, I think, in the lack of foresight and the fact that I do think that cost us probably 2 of the 4 losses that we had. I think could have been prevented if we had had a little bit more foresight about what to do at quarterback, because it was, I don't know if you're allowed to swear on this program, it was a situation.
We swear all the time. Yeah. Well,
and I was disappointed in that, but I was impressed by his ability to kind of reel the team back in after some really hard losses. We should never have lost to Washington last year. We shouldn't have lost to Illinois. I don't think we should have lost to Indiana even. That game was close. And if we have a serviceable QB and that
Mikey
game, we win it. But that being said, he did get us the win in Columbus. He did get us that win in the ReliaQuest Bowl against Alabama. I think he was able to sort of keep the culture cohesive enough down the stretch, but his lack of foresight on the QB position was unforgivable. He rectified that by obviously recruiting Underwood, bringing him in this season. But I think where he fell down again was just a lapse at the wide receiver position. I'm glad we got McCauley, but we need more. We really need more. So I still have hope and faith in Sherrone. I'm not going to be too critical. Year 2 is really hard. The Big Ten is really hard. Like this is a great freaking conference. And, I think we are certainly primed for a national championship run next year.
Yes.
But my thoughts and opinions on Sherrone generally are positive, with, I would say, a few critiques about the way the situation was handled last year.
Yeah, and that's the thing about college football now. Off season with the transfer portal, you don't get any excuses. There's not many excuses at Michigan or these big time colleges when you don't fill the hole. You can't if you know you have holes at on the offensive line, at receiver or at quarterback or corner, you can fill them. Like there's really no excuse in this day and age.
I think unfortunately Sherrone Moore trusted Kirk Campbell.
I agree.
I believe Kirk Campbell said, I can develop these quarterbacks. I think Sherrone Moore trusted that. And that put us in a bad spot last year. And that's why he went for the experienced coordinator in Chip Lindsey. My only concerns with Sherrone Moore at this time are I'm a little concerned with his in-game management. I think sometimes that's questionable, like his timeouts and some of his decisions. And then I also have some concerns where, like, I feel like when he has a blind spot, he has a blind spot. And I think he can be, but I will say what I appreciate about Sherrone Moore is when he identifies a weakness or an area of trouble, he seems to fill it quickly or figure it out or, try and find the solution that can fix it. And he has, for the most part, but wide receivers obviously one. But I don't know. It's to me, I'm still, let me ask you this. Do you think Sherrone Moore deserves an extension?
Oh God, not again.
Let me preface this, Michelle. So we had a show, I don't know, like in June, Johnny? Yeah. We had a caller call in. He was like, Sherrone Moore deserves an extension because he was like ranked like 14th or 13th in the Big Ten in terms of salary. And I'm telling you, it was the most heated. It was the most out of nowhere debate. Our show went 3 hours and it was the most heated 50-50 debate from callers to we had a poll in the chat. It was insane. Let me ask you this. Are you still in observation mode with Sherrone Moore or do you believe in the long term? The long term with Sherrone Moore?
I think as a general matter, extensions in this era of college football are so dangerous, right? Like you look at the size of some of these buyouts, they're
insane.
Like I'm generally of the mind that it's like a prove it year to year, like continue to work, put in the time year after year, and like we'll see where we are next year. So I'm generally, not just for Sherrone Moore, but for most of these coaches, anti-extension. I don't think Sherrone Moore is going to go run and fill the Oklahoma State job, right? I think he wants to be at Michigan. The reason you do an extension is to obviously try to lock him up so he doesn't go seek another coaching position. But there are not many jobs that are better than the Michigan job. It's just a fact, right? You have incredible resources. You have an incredible fan base. You have an incredible brand, an incredible culture. So I think Michigan has enough to retain coaches without having to grant crazy extensions. Like their leverage is pretty significant just as a program. Has he earned an extension? I don't know. That's tough, right? Like, I don't think he's earned it yet. I think last year there were some lapses. This year he appears to have rectified some of them, but there is more work to be done. Like when you're at Michigan, the expectations are just really high, right? This is just a premier program. It's a blue blood, and you have to deliver year after year after year. And so, no, I think it's rare that any Michigan coach deserves an extension. Like, bear in mind, we were ready to fire Jim Harbaugh.
I know.
Right before he took us to the college football playoff. So I think it's an incredibly loaded question, like whether Sherrone Moore deserves an extension. I think more importantly, we should be looking at what the expectations are at Michigan. Are they being met? And then why coaches would want to stay at Michigan versus going to other programs, really appreciating the leverage Michigan has as a program rather than just granting these outrageous extensions, which I think are frankly too common in college football right now, given the coaching carousel.
Yeah, and with Michigan's NIL ability now, I mean, this we are now officially, I would say, a top 5 destination.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Facts.
All right. So looking ahead, what are the games you're most looking? Which ones do you think will be the biggest test going forward?
I'm super nervous about the USC game.
Really?
That it happens to fall on my birthday weekend. My birthday is October 12th. That game is October 11th, which I don't love. I think USC has looked vastly improved, especially on defense. I think they're leading the country in sacks right now, which is surprising given where they've been the past couple of years. Jaden Maeva seems to be the real deal. He seems to sort of understand and play within Lincoln Riley's system. There's a lot of optimism around USC, and I don't love that. Look, I have been to more games than I care to admit at the Coliseum. I've been there quite a bit. It's not the craziest environment. Certainly what Michigan encountered in Lincoln is going to be more challenging than what they face at the Coliseum. Like, it's not necessarily the road test, maybe a little bit of the time zone issue, but I expect that to be like a late afternoon, probably not the night game, maybe or Fox just takes it, right? If USC is undefeated going into the game, I expect Fox to maybe sweep that up and it be big news.
Yeah.
But, which would be fine for Michigan, right? That's like ideal time zone wise for them, but that game makes me kind of nervous. I think USC is good, and I hate USC, so I don't want Michigan to lose to USC. But then that, I would say, the Washington game. Like, Washington's been kind of like flying under the radar. They beat us last year. It was incredibly important for them to beat us because we had beat them in the title game. We were better at that game, to put it mildly. But they're coming to Ann Arbor. I think I'm going to go to that game. Like, I'm probably going to try to make the trip to Ann Arbor for that game. And it makes me nervous because I don't want to watch them lose in person. I watched the Texas game in person, and that was
Oh, yeah. You were at the Texas game, huh?
Yeah.
That was horrible.
Yeah. That was a bad time. All right. Yeah. Well, so regarding the USC point, you're aware of who USC has played, right?
I mean,
like, for example,
I don't want to put down Little Brother by saying they've
it's their best win right now. I can't say Missouri State and Georgia Southern are really concerning me. I mean, so like most of their defense is ranked like around 12th in the Big Ten. Now the sacks are one thing, but again, like their competition, I don't know. I mean, so that's one that. But what's interesting, Michelle, is the 2 games you mentioned are exactly the 2 games outside of obviously the game in November. Mm-hmm. But if we can get past USC and Washington, the path to the playoffs is right in front of us. Like, it's literally, we control our destiny, obviously. But I was just talking on Tuesday, if we can win those 2 games, because I think Wisconsin's going to be a tune-up. It's going to be a perfect game out of the bye. We can get everything sharpened and on point. And then if we can get past the USC and Washington game, which Washington doesn't look like a juggernaut or anything. But I mean, not saying it's gonna be an easy game either, but I feel Michigan can win both games. Like, I do. But we got to play good ball. We got to play good ball though,
They're winnable games. USC just has offensively, USC is going to bring the talent to the table. So it's always a headache.
Yep.
Defensively, and we probably can run it down their throats, maybe, but offensively they'll bring it. Not Michigan State, Washington, that dual threat quarterback, he's a headache. They're always a headache. So that's the thing with them. Their defense isn't really good, but that quarterback, Williams, Williams is going to be a headache.
He will. But look, I'm hoping that this Michigan secondary can progress over the next couple weeks. I think USC is going to be a good test for the secondary for sure. But look, if we're pressuring quarterbacks the way we were against Nebraska, that's great news, right? That actually takes a lot of pressure off of the secondary. If we can get in there and make life very uncomfortable for Jade Mayava or Damon Williams or whoever.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Now the thing about the secondary too is like last year it got better as the year went on. Plus, if Zeke Berry comes back, Rod Moore getting back.
Yes, Rod Moore is huge.
Yeah, Jaden Sanders is impressive for a freshman. I like TJ Metcalf. So I think we have the players. I just don't think it's in sync yet. And I think it'll get there like last year. I do. All right. So what's the one thing about this Michigan team that's not getting enough attention that you think should?
I think Michigan to win the Big Ten, honestly. We identified a couple spots that are tricky, but otherwise the schedule is really favorable. We don't play Penn State. We don't play Oregon. We don't play Indiana. We don't play Illinois. There are a lot of teams we dodge. I had flagged this Michigan team to make it to Indianapolis early on, and I'm still a believer. I think a lot of people identified Nebraska as a test. We passed it. I think we could have passed it even more decisively than we did.
Yep. Yeah.
And
7.5.
And look, I said this before. All this team knows is beating Ohio State.
Yep.
I don't think USC is insurmountable. I don't think Washington is insurmountable. If we can get past those and get into Oklahoma is not a conference game, right? If we can survive those tests and just have it be down to us versus Ohio State, I think we're going to see the best of this team. And I think there's a chance we make it to Indy. And everybody right now is ranking us 4th or 5th or 6th in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
I think that's a mistake, especially given the schedule. And especially, honestly, given the way that Illinois just went down to Indiana, I think it's wide open. And I think we can beat Indy.
Yeah. So you think we can beat Indiana is what you're saying?
No, I think
being Indy. Okay.
We don't play Indiana unless we make it to Indy because they're not on our schedule. Yay.
I know, and Ohio State doesn't play Indiana either, which pisses me off.
Penn State does. Penn State plays Indiana.
Yeah. But I mean, what's Penn State really? I mean, I don't know. I'm still
find out.
We're gonna
find out.
I'm not a believer in Franklin or Drew Aller, to be honest with you. But all right. So speaking of the game, what's your feeling about the game this November? And do you think Michigan wins? I kind of feel like we got your answer there, but what's your thoughts on this game in November?
Obviously, the most pessimistic I've been about this game was last year. I remember I watched it alone. I was sitting in a corner of my couch, kind of curled up in the fetal position, just hoping it wouldn't be that bad, right? And then we started stopping Ohio State. And then we scored. We scored a touchdown. And I was like, oh my gosh, I think we have a chance to win this. And then we did win it. And I think part of that had to do with the fact that Michigan is just in Ryan Day's head. There's something going on there that he has not been able to really overcome. He's lost Sherrone Moore twice, and he lost to the worst Michigan team in a decade last year. And I don't know if he gets that right this year, but this year's version of Michigan is a much better version of Michigan than arrived in Columbus last season. Mm-hmm. And this year's Ohio State team, I think, is a downgrade from what they had in Columbus last season, right? They sent 14 players to the NFL. They had Chip Kelly. They had Jim Knowles, who I like to call Jim Holes after Michigan just ran through him in 2022. But this is a better version of Michigan. This is a worse version of Ohio State. The game is in Ann Arbor. We got Bryce Underwood. I'm never confident. I'm always nervous about this game.
Yeah.
But I feel better than I felt last year, and we still got it done.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel way better this year than I do last year. I mean, obviously, the offense is better. Yeah, I agree. The team is better this year than last year.
That's a
And
fact.
for us, and yeah, and to your point, like last year, yeah, Ohio State's not as good as last year. So I agree. I think, and plus it's home, it's in Ann Arbor, so it matters. So I feel good. Although I will say, if we do not fix our tackling, we have a tackling issue right now, and if we do not fix our blown coverages, it could be a tough day.
We need to get our secondary straightened out, because I think probably one thing Ryan Day heard all off season was that his insistence upon proving his toughness in the game is what cost them. Because if they would have hit the easy button, right? If they would have just thrown to Jeremiah Smith, he could have gotten those pass interference calls all day long, even though he was the one interfering with the pass most of the time. Like, he could have done those flags. Like, they could have moved the ball through the air. They just didn't. They insisted upon proving how tough they were, and they just ran right into Mason Graham and Kenneth Grant over and over and over again, to their detriment. But like, if Ryan Day is just a little bit smarter in how he calls that game, or maybe, I don't know, maybe Chip Kelly, whoever it was who was calling those offensive plays, if they do shift it and really flex their wide receiver talent, which we can all admit is outstanding, like, Michigan is going to be in for much more of a challenge this year than it was. Like, I can't explain the choices that Ohio State made last year in that game calling, but like, if they do make a change this year, and if they're smarter, I think we're going to have our work cut out for us a little bit more. But we got to get our secondary figured out. We got to get our tackling figured out. And if we do that, I think our offense can at least keep pace.
Yeah. The thing that I love, or maybe hate some years, is we don't play them till the end of the year. So what we're seeing from Michigan now won't be what we see in late November. Bryce will be almost a sophomore at that point. You've played all those games. You're basically a sophomore at that point. So, and a lot of these young receivers will probably be in the mix. By then, the defense, whatever it's gonna be and however good it's gonna be, it'll be that by then. So that's the one good thing about playing them the last game of the year of the regular season, is you get to fix a lot of your holes. You know what kind of team you are at that point. You know your strengths, you know your weaknesses, and they know them too. So that's what makes it the game. Like,
no, it's fair. I mean, both teams are gonna be different at that point. Right now, I like it, but we got to get a little tighter. So let me get this, Michelle. I feel like we may know the answer, but what is your end? So actually, let me preface before I ask you this. So I have been a very strong proponent of 9-3. I've stood on 9-3. I felt that was going to be our record prediction. I will say, as of Tuesday after the Nebraska game, I have shifted it to 10-2. I think we can be a 10-2 team. And I am currently projecting the Ohio State game as a loss. That's my 10-2. I think we beat USC. I think we beat Washington. But what is your end of season record prediction? What do you think is going to happen here?
I think 10-2 is the floor, but I think there's a very realistic possibility that we win out.
Oh, I like that.
I want you to write. By the way, I want you to be right.
I like that.
Yeah. I mean,
like, okay, not to go back to the Ohio State game, but like, two of our best players were out. We had no Will Johnson. We had no Colston Loveland. So as talented as last year's team was, that talent wasn't even in the game. I think, knock on wood, assuming we can stay healthy.
Yeah.
I think 11 is totally in play. And look, that early game against Oklahoma, I don't think is going to be defining for this Michigan team.
Yeah. I agree, because we have a completely different offensive game plan. What's funny is the community is very mad at me right now.
I can
but
I think
disgusting.
So we also have some Buckeyes watching. We got USC fans, Penn State fans watching. So appreciate all you guys watching. And then Alex Martin says, why the loss? The reason why I have the November game as a loss is because if we do not clean up our tackling and our fundamentals, and we do not clean up this back end blown coverage bullshit, That's going to be a long day, boys. Like Ryan Day, I do not feel is going to make the same mistake twice in terms of trying to run it up the damn A gap, even though this defensive tackle duo is not Mason Graham and Kenneth Grant. I just feel we better be on our game in terms of our coverage disguises and holding our own in the passing game. And I don't feel confident right now about it. Now, it doesn't mean it's not going to improve, because it will. And I can always, I may adjust my opinion here, but that's my concern with it. But I do have us 10-2. I do think we'll make the playoffs. But I'm just trying to be very honest with you guys. I don't lie to my community, Michelle, even if I'm on a position that isn't favorable. I just give my honest opinion on it.
I respect it.
Yeah. I want to be wrong though. I like your choice better than mine. So yeah, sorry. Not smart enough. All right, boys. But all right, so then Johnny, where were you at with the record prediction?
I've said 10-2 from since summer, I think. 10-2. That's what we need. Like, we need 10-2.
Yeah.
We don't want to watch everybody else in the playoffs again. It was horrible last year. It was. So we got to get 10-2. And with this favorable schedule, it's right there. It's right there for us to take it. Just go out and execute, and let's make the playoff and try to make a run.
Okay, here's a question though for you guys.
Yeah.
I think part of the reason why Michigan was so successful in Columbus is because we had house money, right? It was clear we were not making the college football playoff, but we had already become bowl eligible, which just allowed us to go out and just totally fuck shit up, right? Like that was all the team cared about.
This is all we got.
But like, does that change? And this is just a question and a curiosity. Like, does that change if Michigan is looking at a playoff berth against Ohio State? I don't know. Maybe it does. But like,
the pressure
I don't think we can discount the house money mentality that Michigan had going into the game last year. I think it was significant. Oh my God, that comment. TJ Spawn took too much.
Hilarious. Hilarious. It's so funny. It's all good. We love it here. We love it.
I think, and you're right about the house money, but also I think the fact that nobody's lost to Ohio State on these teams the last few years, these players haven't lost to Ohio State. So there's also the factor of we don't lose to y'all anymore. So we're going to come in y'all house and we're going to smack y'all around.
They're coming to our house.
No, I'm talking about last year.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I think that was a factor too of how they felt. But and I think they're gonna have that same energy this year too.
I think Michigan will have the energy of house money. I mean, Bryce Underwood really doesn't give a fuck. I mean, he really does not. He plays with a effort mentality. I mean, it's amazing his approach. It really is. And I don't think the boys are going to play scared because it is house money. And at the end of the day, if we go into that game, here's the truth too. This might bother some purists, football purists, but like going into that game, if we are 11 or 10-1 at the time, we really are playing with house money because we're going to make the playoffs, even if we lose to Ohio State, right? So likely. So I don't know. I mean, look, can we win that game? Absolutely. I just see potential red flags with our current playing style that I feel plays in the hands of Ohio State. And it's not like, now granted, now I'm going to argue with myself, with this Barham addition to that defensive line, it might be able to create enough havoc on Julian Sain where he's not comfortable. Because actually, let me ask you this. What's your thoughts on Julian Sain right now?
Look, he didn't impress me terrifically against Texas. Texas defense, though, is really good. I say what you will about Arch. I think he's underperformed, but the Texas defense is legit. And I think Julian Sain in his other games where it's not really been a credible threat has been fine, good. I saw like a pretty tempting Julian Sain for a Heisman line that I almost took, but I couldn't bring myself to do it.
Yeah.
But it was only based on the thought that if Ohio State like goes the distance and Sain otherwise stays fairly reliable and predictable, maybe. And the odds were good, but I didn't take it. I wouldn't bet on that. Because I don't bet against Michigan, and that's kind of an implicit bet against Michigan. So not taking that. But look, I don't hate Julian Sain. I think he's performed maybe about expectations. I mean, he was a 5-star recruited by Nick Saban, So you need him to be kind of good. I think he's done fine. Frankly, who wouldn't do fine with these wide receivers? My goodness.
Yeah, exactly.
She cooking.
Exactly. Yeah, I said the same thing to Garrison. I don't even know Garrison.
I could be a Heisman candidate with these wide receivers, you guys.
Yeah,
she's
yep.
cooking.
Yep. So so here's my thoughts on Julian Sain. Above average quarterback who can win games. But to your point, the wide receivers and offensive system, I think, make it a lot easier for a quarterback like him. I told Garrison's, he does the Ohio State channel for the Voice of College Football. We do the Michigan, obviously. So I argued with Garrison. I was like, I feel if Julian Sain was on another team, he wouldn't even put up the numbers he's putting up right now. So I agree with you. I think you're on path there for sure.
And real quick, TJ, the thing about Julian Sain is, and they always hype up whoever does decent on their team, but you still have to find out. Like, we haven't seen him on a big time road game. We haven't seen him when the defense is crashing down. A defensive line is destroying his offensive line, and he has to run for his life, and he has to make throws with pressure in his face consistently. He made some bonehead plays against Ohio. So they still have to find out, and we still have to find out, what is he made of?
Think about Will Howard, you guys. Like, Will Howard was an experienced quarterback. He had a ton of games at Kansas State. He came in as the experienced guy, and you saw him play Michigan. Like, he became an idiot in that game. And we know his high-end potential. He demonstrated it throughout the college football playoff. Will Howard played great in the college football playoff. Michigan made Will Howard look terrible. Maybe some of that was that hit that he took.
Yes.
But, like,
he definitely had a concussion.
He threw a pick before that, you guys.
Who threw that hit again? Was it
So Will Howard was in hell. He looked bad against this Michigan defense. Well, it was a different Michigan defense. Some of the same parts return, obviously. But, like, Michigan defense and Wink Martindale in particular can make even a very experienced quarterback kind of crumble under pressure.
Yep.
And Sain is not Howard. He's just not.
I always say this defensive scheme makes quarterbacks have to play great to beat you. And it holds up for the most part. John Mateer, he kind of played great, didn't he?
He did.
Whether it was his legs or his arm, he played great. So it holds up for the most part.
Yeah, very well. All right, Michelle. Last question here. Really appreciate you rocking with us for like close to an hour right now. But all right, so our last question here is, and I do have some quick super chats we can run through. But what is your overall thoughts on the current state of college football, and where do you see this thing trending in the next few years? Because I know you dive deep into this. Like, I really do want your opinion.
I would even do it. I mean, stop me if I go too long. But I'm really excited about college football right now. I think there are a lot of people who have reasonable critiques about the way in which NIL and the transfer portal have changed college football for the worst. I do think that NIL and the transfer portal need to be better governed. They need to be subject to more reasonable, predictable constraints. But otherwise, I've really appreciated the extent to which they brought parity into college football. I love that Vandy is a good team right now. I put out a video today saying, somewhat jokingly, but somewhat not, that the Georgia game for Alabama, they're looking ahead to the Vandy game next week because they lost to Vandy last year. Like, there's just less predictability, less dynasty. Like, Georgia isn't the same team that won the national title 2 years in a row. Like, there are other contenders, and I think that's a really exciting landscape for people who just love the sport of college football like I do. But I do think we need better governance. Like, the NCAA is the absolute worst. Like, they're number one on my enemy list. And we need to do a better job of actually imposing reasonable restrictions, governance, limitations on what happens. But otherwise, I don't know. I love college football. I think 2025 has been a super exciting year. I'm excited to see the reemergence of Florida State. Like, I love Georgia Tech, what they're doing right now. So
Yeah.
There's a lot of things to be excited about, but there is also a lot of room for improvement.
Yeah. I'm a big proponent of the conference realignment. I like it. I think it's more fun. I love the NIL era. Now I do see why people, especially purists, are upset with what they're seeing. But what the reality is, and this, we all know this, money was in the game long before it was public. So I mean, it's really hasn't changed. I will say I hate the new ruling about putting sponsors on jerseys. Did you see that? They just announced that they're going to start that. Did you see that, Michelle?
I did not see it.
Disgusting.
But it does not surprise me. It's kind of gross.
Disgusting. It's very gross. That's like the one thing like I can't stand is the advertisement on jersey. So I'm a purist in that aspect. Like, don't touch the jerseys at all, whether it be hockey, football, whatever. Don't touch the damn jerseys. But they are.
Throw it on the field.
What is this? Soccer? Is this soccer now?
Is this Europe? I thought this was America, Michelle. What the hell? But yeah. So, but I mean, so I think what we're going to see. So this is gonna be interesting. I'd like to know. All right. So here's my thoughts on how it's gonna go, Michelle. I think we're gonna see a Super League. I think it's gonna be anywhere from 40 to 60 teams. The biggest brands, and I think there will be a collective bargaining agreement. There will be a college football commissioner. So there's your governance. And then they're going to be looked at, and you know way more about this than I do. You obviously, for those who don't know, Michelle has a legal background. I do not.
A lawyer. Yes.
Yeah, she's a lawyer. She is a lawyer. But there is these players will be employees, not athletes, I think, with the collective bargaining agreement. So, what's your thoughts there? Do you think we will see a Super League of like 40 teams to potentially 60? The reason why I think 40 is because it's more of an NFL model, and those are the biggest brands, which is what the TV networks want. But I could see the 60. Now, in an ideal scenario, I would love a 60-team Super League with relegation, where like the bottom like teams go to like the Group of 5 conference, right? And then like so the remaining like 70 teams have to like, the top like 5 move up, and the bottom, or maybe the top 10 in the other conference or the league move up, and the bottom 10 move down. That'd be fun, like a soccer European model.
Right.
What's your thoughts here on any of that?
Soccer, like that would be super interesting to see that. And I think it would put a little bit more stakes and consequences on some of those games that would otherwise not really draw the attention of the general public.
Yes.
But I think a Super League is sort of inevitable at this point. I mean, we're almost there in a de facto way, right? Like you've got the Big Ten, the SEC. And then you've got like the Big 12, right? Where they're talking about a Utah Texas Tech game as like, this is going to be the Big 12 team that gets in, right? Like there could probably only be one. And then you see Clemson fall and you're like, maybe there's only going to be one team from the ACC. We're already moving toward, especially with this expanded playoff model, a system where it's really the SEC and the Big Ten as sort of de facto super leagues. But I think any model that replaces the NCAA has my stamp of approval for sure.
Oh, but, so you want Saudi Arabia to?
No, well, not that.
Kidding.
No.
I'm just kidding.
Oh boy.
Yeah. No, but yeah, I agree. I agree. It's gonna be interesting though. Now, what's your thoughts on the rumors that What's your thoughts on the rumors? I don't know if you saw these where they think the conference expansion is going to pick up again in like 2 years. Have you seen this? Like it's already being discussed.
What conferences are expanding? Big Ten.
They're going to get to 20. They're going to get to 20. I think it was the Maryland. Oh man, it was like maybe a month ago I read this. There was somebody from, I think it was Maryland, that said it's already been decided, and it's not Notre Dame. Notre Dame does not want to go. Like obviously we know, but apparently like they're going to get to 20. The belief is by like 2027 they're going to get to 20. SEC and Big Ten. I know the TV contract's up soon. I think that's 2028 though. I could be wrong, but regardless, I was just curious if you heard any of these rumors at all.
I haven't. I mean, look, I look at teams like UCLA, right? I think UCLA has no business in the Big Ten. Like,
interesting. Well, you know why? It's the market.
It's the market. It's the television market, and the fact that UCLA and USC were a little bit of a package deal, and then obviously we brought in Oregon and Washington,
which I like.
Pac-12. I kind of missed the Pac-12. I'm actually sad about the effective disappearance of the Pac-12, or at least the Pac-12 as we knew it. with Utah the conferences. But I don't know. I mean, there is something, as someone who remembers that era of college football, there's something kind of sad about eviscerating conferences that used to be great and eliminating competition. And now, the race for a Big Ten, I mean, to the extent the Big Ten or the SEC expand further and get to 20 teams, like the race for a conference championship is going to be so much harder than it was before when we had a meaningful Big 12 or a meaningful Pac-12. Like that was really fun for college football. So I guess I'm a little bit sad about that. I just don't know. But then I kind of blame the college football playoff and the college football playoff committee to the extent that they have denigrated the meaning of conference championships. Like, I'm going to get on my soapbox since you let me on your podcast and say Florida State got screwed.
Yeah, no, I agree.
They went undefeated.
Yeah.
They won the ACC conference championship and they were denied a college football playoff spot. Like that sucks. And I don't know. I've seen some talk about eliminating conference championships altogether as part of this system.
I don't like that.
I don't necessarily like it either, except if we are in a playoff era where teams like Notre Dame exist who don't play in the conference title game and can't take an L there. I think you have to reassess how you do it. And if you're going to let teams like Notre Dame advance while other teams maybe get punished for losing a conference championship game that otherwise they wouldn't have had to play in, I don't know, maybe you have to reevaluate that system.
So we have to force Notre Dame into the Big Ten. That's the only way this makes sense. I get it.
I actually really
you don't want Notre Dame in the Big Ten?
Well, I like the fact that we our last game against Notre Dame, we really destroyed them.
Yeah, we did.
Smacked them in the monsoon.
And then they ran away like little children. But all right, let me ask you, my final question, we'll get these super chats, we'll knock them out quick. What teams do you want to see in the Big Ten?
Utah, I think, belongs in the Big Ten.
That's so funny. I like Utah too, but it won't happen, Michelle. I like Utah too. That won't happen.
They're definitely a Big Ten style team.
You know that won't happen.
Style. And Kyle Whittingham is such a Big Ten guy. You know, right? It's hard to articulate in words why Kyle Whittingham is a Big Ten guy and why Utah belongs in the Big Ten, but Utah belongs in the Big Ten for sure.
I like it. It was the market. It's not going to happen. It's just not. I think Florida State's possible. North Carolina's possible. Which is
silly geographically. There's so much more SEC compatible geographically.
Yeah.
Clemson, right? Clemson is kind of on the border. I could see honestly Clemson going either way. With the kind of tradition of Clemson, the way that team is comprised, I could totally see Clemson joining the Big Ten, but I hate it. I don't like it.
Yeah, fair enough. All right. Well, we'll save that debate for the next time you're on, Michelle. But let's get these super chats. We'll knock them out quick. And we'll let Michelle let you answer this. What are your thoughts about the play calling so far this year?
Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, go for it. We'll let you hit it.
It's improved. With one exception, I think the way the clock was managed prior to the Hail Mary and the Nebraska game could have been better. Otherwise, though, I think the fact that we have been willing to let Bryce Underwood more has been a good thing. I think opening up the passing game has been a good thing. I was happy to see Marlon Klein back and healthy. I think that helps us too. So I think it's gotten progressively better. Especially, I think the Oklahoma game was kind of a low point.
Yeah, I would agree. So we got GT here again. I heard this is more of a statement than a question. I heard Kirk Campbell wanted to start a reality show, but didn't know what to call it. The Biggest Loser was already taken. Shots fired. GT. All right, Michigander. Michelle, what's your favorite thing Buckeyes say to you on Twitter?
Oh, I don't know. I like a lot of Buckeyes on Twitter. Honestly, I'm not mad about it. There are a few that are a little bit too chippy for my taste. But I like plenty of Buckeyes on Twitter. They're fine.
Yeah. Well, some are good. I mean, some are crazy, but yeah. All right. So we have. All right. Also agree with Michelle about Sainristil. I believe he needs a statue. All right. Easy now. You think he needs a statue? I think Tom Brady needs a statue. Without him, we don't win the Natty. That's fair. I mean, do you think Sainristil deserves a statue at Michigan, Michelle?
100%. Yes.
Really? Holy shit! Really?
I would contribute my own hard-earned
Really?
legal dollars to a Mike Sainristil statue outside of Schembeckler Hall. I would.
Yeah. Okay. So, all right. Then let's ask this: who do we think really deserves a statue at the Big House or Schembeckler Hall, whatever? So we got Sanders still. Who else? Tom Brady, right? We agree here. Woodson. Howard. We got the Heisman winners, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think you got
Aiden.
Aiden. He didn't win the national title.
Bro, he started it all.
Dude, statues are like serious, people.
He started the winning culture.
I know.
He come on.
I would do Woodson. I would do Tom Brady.
Okay.
I mean, we'll talk.
Hold on. This is the tape. That photo of Sainristil, Corum, and JJ all running down the field together. You guys know the picture, right?
Yeah.
Iowa.
It was in the Iowa game. It was in the Big Ten championship against Iowa. That should be a statue, like a bronze replica of that photo.
Okay, and then Connor Stan should also get a statue.
And Connor Stan.
Yeah, he should get one. That'd be hilarious. Ultimate troll. Okay, so we got another one here. Michelle has hilarious replies to trolls on X. As John says, she stands in the paint. Can we get a go blue, Michelle?
Oh, go blue all day, every day. Thank you. I do try my best to stand in the paint.
Yeah, no, you do a great job.
A lot of people. I have said before, I will say again, if Twitter had a Joe Moore award, I think I would win it.
Yeah.
For how quickly and effectively I block people who come at me with negativity about personal stuff. If it's ball talk, I'm ready and willing to engage.
I mean, I think you do cook people pretty good, though. It's actually kind of funny. All right, so we got USC's defense's ass. I would agree. I mean, sure, they get sacks, but to be determined on what they really are. All right, let's see. I would put $100 in CBS picking Michigan at USC. They picked it last year. It was their best numbers all year. They were at Penn State, USC last year. Okay, we had another super chat. Ohio had more pass attempts than the other game. Oh, against us.
They did. They passed more against us than they did against Oregon.
I'm not so sure about every other game, but I do know the narrative of like their game plan not being. Yeah, they did run up the A gap a lot, but they did throw it a lot too. They had over 30.
They threw it like 32 or 34 times.
34.
Have been that they lost confidence in Will Howard because he looked bad, and I think he might have been a little bit cooked upstairs.
Yeah, so we got beat up here. So Thunder Redman, I don't know if you know what Thunder Redman is, but he would like to know if you would ever join him on his YouTube channel, Michelle.
Sure, reach out. DM me.
DM. All right, we got Darren Schuler, Michigan State to the MAC. People are talking. And then we got a statue of Harbaugh and I believe Connor Stein's probably. Drufus, my man. That is our super chats. Appreciate it. Michelle, thank you very much for coming on. You have an open invitation.
You're super fun.
Yeah, you're welcome to come on whenever you want. So really appreciate it. Enjoy your nights. I know you're busy, so we appreciate it, and go blue.
Yep, go blue. Bye, guys.
Blue.